Hello, everybody. My name is Mateo Armenta, and I will be presenting the case of Lisa Ann Coleman versus the state of Texas. So, below me, so there's two people involved actually, but the person that was on death row is Lisa Coleman. The person underneath me directly would be the victim's mother. Alrighty, so today I'll be presenting the case of Lisa Ann Nicole, the evidence that led up to her conviction, and what she was convicted of, and why the jury was justified in, with their decisions. So, Lisa Ann Coleman was the lover and or partner of Marcella Williams. Marcella Williams is the mother of Devonte Williams. And this all happened between 1999 to 2004. 1999 was around when the first signs and or case of abuse happened. This happened in Texas, and the case was abuse, neglect, and severe malnutrition. All right, so something I want to kind of leave with you is how can someone become so consumed by another person that they fail to see the harm being done to a child? The desire to be loved can come at a terrible cost. And for Marcella Williams, that was the life of her 9-year-old son, Devonte. So, in 1989, Devonte was 4, and he was removed from the house for the first time, and that would be Marcella Williams' house. I wasn't too clear if it was because of Coleman as well, but it specifically said Miss Williams' house. He later then returned about a year later, after whatever needed to be done by Miss Williams to get her son back. That's what she did. In 2004 is when Devonte lost his life, unfortunately, due to the outcome of severe malnutrition. When Devonte was found, he was already in rigor mortis. He was found with over 250 known injuries that were visible. He also had very, very severe ulcers on his lips. When the paramedics came, he was already in rigor mortis, which only happens a lot of hours after someone has passed. So basically, Devonte's body was the only part of evidence that was the strongest part of evidence that built this case. So there was collective evidence from teachers. Teachers would say that Devonte would come in super tired, super hungry. Miss Williams also admitted that she wouldn't let Devonte go to school due to not wanting CPS to be called. And she didn't obviously want Devonte to get taken away from her. So this is why she kept him home or didn't, all these things. There was also multiple complaints to Child Protective Services from the teachers and also family members around. So alongside with those 250 injuries that had to do with huge open sores on his body, cigarette burns, lacerations on his wrists from being bound and tied. So that's very unfortunate. And so Miss Coleman also ended up admitting later down the line that she did bind Devonte's body to a singular confined area. And she said that this was for his own good, basically, so he wouldn't hurt himself or hurt others. I'm not too sure if I didn't really read if there was a diagnosis of any mental health issues on Devonte's part. From the medical records, it didn't see or show that Devonte had any troubles with eating or anything like that. So there was nothing medically wrong with him documented. Also, along with the physical evidence, there was constant statements from family members being told like they didn't know where Devonte would be. These things also helped build the case because it was evidence shown that Devonte wasn't with family members, Devonte wasn't with the mother, and actually Devonte had a younger sister, and I believe she was only a couple years younger, maybe 2-3 years younger, and she was with Miss Williams, Devontae's mother, all the time, also with Miss Coleman all the time, and it didn't seem that she was also being abused, but she was the only child around them. Alrighty, so let's see. What ended up leading to the conviction? So Miss Coleman, like I said, ended up admitting to tying up Devontae for long periods of time. She would deprive him from food, so that's why he ended up looking very, very small for his age. He was about 9 years old, or he was 9 years old when he passed, and he looked about maybe 3-4 years old when the examiners examined his body after he passed away. So with the CPS reports, the witness statements, and the physical injuries that they saw and documented, all these things landed the jury to convict in June 19th, 2006. And she was sentenced, actually that's when she was put to death. I believe she was convicted, not too long after, or vice versa. I apologize on that. But she was put to death within a month after. I know that for sure. So a combination of documented years of abuse and the actual confession from not only Miss Williams, but Miss Coleman. And because Miss Coleman was the prime person who would tie up Devontae and would do these acts on Devontae, is the reason why she was the one who, or as well as not fully saying that she was guilty, but was trying to justify her actions, is why they held the death penalties to her so high. On Miss Williams, she was also put to trial, but she didn't get the death penalty due to her admitting all of these things and admitting her wrongs and these things. So I believe that's what gave her a lesser sentence. But Miss Coleman ended up being the one who died by lethal injection. And I believe she was like the 547th person to die from lethal injection. So yes. All right, so what I just spoke about was the crime and circumstances revolving Devontae Williams' death, the evidence that was provided to convict Miss Coleman, and why the jury's decision was justified. If I was going to leave anything with you guys, I would say if you were to choose to bring a child into this world, you're solely responsible for their protection and their safety, and they should never need that protection or safety from you. So this is one of the reasons I will not be bringing a child into this world. I feel like it is a very strong decision, and if you're not mentally sound or mentally capable to do that, I feel like it is in the best interest to just not go down that route.